3, 2, 1, go!
Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, it is KingNido here, and today in the Orange Islands we are kicking off round 10 with a matchup of the winning streaks as the Shamuti Keepers host the Lumiose Lightning. The Lightning starting out with Luxray and a Rotom in its Frost form, whereas it's Corviknight and Dragonite starting out for the Shamuti Keepers, but both these sides have won their last 3 matchups as Rotom with a Shadow Punch onto Dragonite won't do much damage, but Dragonite with the takedown onto Luxray is a fantastic hit. Dragonite does get some recoil damage there, but Luxray does respond with the Weather Ball going for Corviknight here. This won't be very effective on the Steel-type Pokemon. No Weather to capitalize on, but Corviknight with the knockoff is going to knock that Leopard Berry off of Rotom. Good hit there, but Rotom responding with that Sleep Powder will put the Steel Flying type to sleep. But as I said, both these sides have won their last 3 matchups, so whoever loses today does have their winning streak cut short. But a Supersonic now from Dragonite onto Rotom is going to leave it confused, and the Shamuti Keepers definitely want to win today. They want to get up into the Elite Four as they are currently in 5th. And we have the Teeter Dance coming from Luxray. This will confuse everyone on the field, including Rotom. And Rotom has had a fantastic last 3 games. So they have been a key player in the Lumiose Lightning, building their winning streak, as Corviknight is still fast asleep. Rotom needs to shake off this confusion, and unfortunately it is unable to, doing damage to itself. Same goes for Dragonite. It needs to shake it off as well, and it is also unsuccessful 2 Pokemon in a row as Luxray with the payday clearly earning its money in this matchup. Not very effective though on Corviknight, unfortunately, who does wake up but is confused as well and also does damage to itself. Everybody doing damage. Rotom needs to end that, and it is able to. It's going to go for a Stone Edge. This will be a good hit on the Flying type Corviknight. Not super effective due to that Steel typing. And Dragonite 2 turns in a row is unsuccessful with shaking up that confusion, as Luxray with the Belly Drum is going to cut its health using half of its max health to maximize its attack. But it is now an easy target if Corviknight can shake this off, instead going for a Morning Sun to restore its own health instead of finishing Luxray off in this early stages of the matchup. But there's a huge health restoration there for Corviknight. Rotom also still confused, and it is able to shake it off, going for the Acid Armor, though it doesn't go for the offensive move. Instead it is going to give itself a really good defense boost, but Dragonite has snapped out of its confusion, goes for a Tickle onto Luxray. This will lower its physical stats here, both its attack and defense, losing that strength there, but Luxray with the growth will get those stats back to where they were with its attack stat, as well as getting the boost there in its special attack. But Corviknight still confused, unable to shake it off, doing damage to itself there. And remember, Rotom is also still confused. It is able to be more successful than Corviknight though, and goes for a Slash. Very little damage though on the Steel Pokemon, as Dragonite with the brutal swing. This will finish Luxray off. Unable to capitalize on that Belly Drum it performed earlier, turned out to be unnecessary, but Corviknight snaps out of its confusion, going for the Endeavor. It won't affect Rotom as Electivire comes out onto the field, who has been having a great season, and immediately goes for the submission there onto Corviknight. A good hit, does get a little bit of recoil damage, but still trying to chip away at that Steel Flying type, as Rotom with the Searing Shot. This hits everyone on the field, but Corviknight is eliminated. They have taken down the Steel Flying type with this super effective attack. It's not very effective on Dragonite, who has been taking a little bit of damage, as Dragonite sets up a substitute, cutting into its own health, but puts that substitute in its place, and out comes Noivern for the Shamuti Keepers, who still hasn't even gotten an elimination yet this season, as it goes for the Clear Smog onto Rotom. Does have its stat changes removed, and Electivire goes for a substitute of its own. We have 2 substitutes on the field at the moment, as Rotom with the Head Charge is going to try to take down Dragonite. Surely that would have eliminated it if it wasn't there, but that substitute does fade, and Dragonite comes back onto the field, as Rotom has recoil damage from that. That Sucker Punch does fail from the Pseudo Legendary, and Noivern with the Draining Kiss on the substitute. There will be no health taken there from the substitute as Electivire begins to absorb power. It will be setting up for a Geomancy here. This 2-turn move will boost its stats in the next turn, and you know with that substitute there, it's surely going to finish off. But a grassy terrain is being set up for the Lumiose Lightning. The Flying types won't be able to capitalize this because none of them are on the ground at the moment. So the Lumiose Lightning will be having their health restored as Dragonite goes for the Dragon Darts, and this will take Rotom out. This is its worst game in the last 4 it's had. Surely that's not a sign of things to come for the Lumiose Lightning, but that substitute does fade for Electivire. after those Dragon Darts, but Electivire is able to have some of its health restored thanks to that Grassy Terrain. And Magnezone now coming out for the Lumiose Lightning. As Noivern with the skill swap, it's going to get the Motor Drive from Electivire, so it will actually be able to take some electric type hits. That is fantastic for the flying type Pokemon, as Electivire will finish off its Geomancy here, so it is going to give a nice boost to itself, especially you'd have to think in that special attack stat that is a base 95. Dragonite though with the dynamic punch onto Electivire, and the Geomancy doesn't matter because Electivire is eliminated from this matchup. Dragonite with a crucial elimination there, as Magnezone going in with the confusion onto the pseudo legendary, gets the critical hit and takes down Dragonite, who had a great performance in this matchup. That was key for the Lumiose Lightning, as Toxtricity comes out for the Lightning and Gyarados comes out for the Keepers. Noivern setting up for a Skull Bash. It's going to tuck its head this turn, give itself a defense boost as well. We should see that connected in the next turn, but first Gyarados with the bind onto Toxtricity. It should take continuous damage in between turns as it gets squeezed by Gyarados, but Toxtricity goes for the final gambit. It's going to take itself out of this matchup. Huge damage to Noivern, but doesn't get the elimination, and Toxtricity is out of it. There's only 2 Pokemon left for the Lumiose Lightning. We still have 4 Pokemon remaining for the Shimudi Keepers. The work up there from Magnezone does boost its attack and special attack stats there. And it's Jolteon who comes out as the last Pokemon for the Lightning, and immediately with an Aeroblast onto Gyarados instead of taking Noivern out, who is able to finish the Skull Bash and goes for the evolution. Gets a really good hit there. There's Gyarados now with the Flatter. This Flatter will leave Magnezone with a confused status, but it will boost its special attack, and Magnezone has a base 130 special attack, so it's getting boosts to it. Magnezone though, unable to shake off its confusion, does do damage to itself, so unable to capitalize on that boost. But Jolteon there having its health restored, as does Magnezone. That Grassy Terrain coming into effect for the Lumiose Lightning, as Jolteon with the growth is going to give itself the boost there in its attack and special attack. It has that speed already. It needs to capitalize on the rest of it, but Noivern going for the Sunny Day. That sunlight will turn harsh if anyone goes for a Solar Beam. They'll be able to go for it on the first turn and capitalize on the Grassy Terrain as well. But Gyarados now with a Hex onto Magnezone. Very little damage there being done, as Magnezone has snapped out of its confusion and goes for the Worry Seed. This is actually really good because it changes that all-important Moxie ability of Gyarados to Insomnia. It won't be able to go to sleep, but it will not get any attack boosts if it gets an elimination, as Jolteon and Magnezone continue to have their health restored whilst that Grassy Terrain is still on the field. But it does now leave the field. They won't be able to capitalize on that anymore. Jolteon though with the Sludge Bomb onto Gyarados. A fantastic hit, and Gyarados is left poisoned. It will be taking damage from that continuously. Noivern with the Petal Blizzard hits everyone on the field. Gyarados is able to hold on. That poison should take it out, but the Morning Sun, and it's going to get the boost there from that sunlight as well. It's going to restore 2/3 of its health. That is really crucial time to do it after that Sunny Day's been performed. Magnezone with the Power Whip here is surely going to finish off Noivern, but it doesn't. It's not very effective, and Noivern is able to hold on. Gyarados, thankfully having its health restored, is not eliminated on this turn. Jolteon though with the Corrosive Gas, this will corrode away everyone's Leopard Berries except for Jolteon's of course, even taking it from its own teammate in Magnezone. Noivern though with the Pollen Puff onto Magnezone. Not a bad hit there for such a not very effective attack, as Gyarados follows it up with a Revenge onto Magnezone. That is a much better hit there, super effective. Magnezone though able to hold on and goes for the Expanding Force. Now it should finally be able to finish off Noivern, and that it does. And Noivern still yet to get an elimination this season. That is terribly unfortunate. Gyarados there still suffering from its poison. There's only 2 Pokemon left for the Lightning. There's still 3 remaining for the Keepers, as a head charge from Jolteon straight onto Gyarados and gets the elimination, as Braviary has come onto the field, and it's now a 2 versus 2 battle. We're about to find out who the last Pokemon for the Keepers is. Jolteon gets some recoil damage but holds on. Braviary though will finish it off with the Razor Shell, taking out the evolution. Magnezone has 2 flying type Pokemon to contend with. Magnezone with the beat up will only hit once. It hits every time. Well, sorry, it hits for each Pokemon remaining on your team, and they've only got 1, as Aerodactyl comes out and immediately goes for the rollout. This won't be very effective on Magnezone, but for the second matchup in a row, it is a rollout that takes out Magnezone. giving the all-important victory to the Shimoody Keepers. This will move them up into the Elite Four, into second place. They are so close to that top position, whereas the Lumiose Lightning have had their 3-game winning streak ended here. Their next matchup as well will be just as challenging as they face the Opaloosa Dragon into the next round, whereas the Shimoody Keepers have a huge matchup going against the New Morphle Devils next round, a top contending side there. But our very next matchup will be the Battling Angels taking on the Pony Canyon Fisher. Each of these sides are both below a cut line. Battling Angels trying to get into the Masters 8, Pony Canyon Fisher trying to get into the Elite Four, but until then, Nidorinos, I cannot wait for that. Thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below who you thought was the best on field, and if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, always remember, you are awesome, and I'll see you when you see me.